Hey everyone, Mike on Monday coming to you from the field. Yes, we're in Sheboygan County and the fog is starting to burn off. The heat is starting to come again. We do have corn that's coming through on this no-till field. As you can see behind me, that it's kind of yellow in color, so our herbicide is working pretty well. A lot of the weeds are laying down. What was kind of neat and nice, even though with the rain that we had, you can walk out here. That's telling me our soil density is nice. It can handle a lot of traffic is what I'm trying to say. It supports the traffic, so it takes less fuel to get a crop put in the ground. So we're seeing nice emergence coming through on this. This is up in basically 7 days and such. So now don't let this throw you off. Sheboygan County is normally a little slower in growth and out of the ground scenarios. I know out in, once you get west of 41, that we have a lot taller corn and things are moving quickly and nicely out there as well. So with that in mind, side dress, start thinking about your side dress program. Last year in the answer plot, we saw significant differences in how the corn was performing based on how we were feeding it. For years we've talked about nitrogen in the crop and the side dress part of that, etc., etc. We saw in that answer plot sulfur plays a huge role. We've known this for a long time, and it's all about how do we get the sulfur out there at the right time, etc., etc. So sulfur moves through the soil just like nitrogen can with water. So looking at that as a side dress option is definitely part of the equation, is what we've learned over the years. And from a starting point, where do you start? For every 10 units of nitrogen, 1 pound of sulfur is what you're looking for. And you're looking to use sulfate sulfur at this point because you want it to be acting with the environment as well as the crop, meaning that's the form of sulfur that the crop can utilize. And it's not only just the crop, it's also the biology of the soil uses a lot of sulfur. So again, for every 10 units of nitrogen, 1 unit of sulfur is the starting point that I've learned over the years. If you do a lot of tissue testing, you start making differences based on organic matter, manure, rotation, etc., etc. But as we're talking a little bit about nitrogen and side dress, etc., the other part is, as you all figured out, nitrogen's gotten more expensive. Stabilizing that nitrogen is a very, very good investment regardless of the price of nitrogen. But you're probably more inclined to do it when nitrogen prices are high. So when you're out there side dressing, and it doesn't matter if we're talking urea or 3228, you want to be using products such as Agritane or Anvil that stabilize that nitrogen out here on the surface. So add those to your management pieces. That helps us get more nitrogen to where we want it, and that's in the plant, making more yield. Just a couple other notes before I finish up. Winter wheat is moving quickly. Fungicides should be looked at getting lined up and positioned and going very quickly, because this heat's going to push us through that heading stage very rapidly, especially if you're trying to take care of any vomitoxin or excuse me, head scab scenarios. You might notice, depending on how long ago your corn or beans were planted, you may need to stick a little Roundup in the tank with that pre-emerge, because the weeds are jumping out of the ground now just as fast as your crop are. And mentioning that, be very careful. The number of your soybean chemistry needs to be on before that crop is out of the ground. So if you see it jump out of the ground and it has not been sprayed, make sure you know what you're working with there, that you don't kill your beans with a post-emerge application of what's supposed to be a pre-emerge. Oats, if you have any oats out there, they're moving quickly. Be ready to spray those weeds off and maybe consider some fungicide in the tank. And probably just like we saw in the wheat, They're going to be short on micros, so tissue testing will give you a heads up on what it is you need to put in the tank. Lastly, moving into alfalfa, we started seeing weevils starting to hit various fields out there. Be ready to either harvest that alfalfa and spray that stubble. You got to keep an eye on it. We'll push the weevil through its life cycle fast with this heat, but they're going to eat a lot in the process. If you're not going to get to that field that quickly, you may have to look at the use of an insecticide before you get that first crop taken. Lots of things happening. Get out there, take a look, give us a call if you got questions. With that, be safe, enjoy the hot and the cold, because I guess we'll get both this week. See you later.